Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. In this video I have a message for the young ladies and the older ladies and to all my survivors of narcissistic abuse. And this message is just about how to generally think about a man when he's trying to step into your life. Okay, when he's trying to step into your life, you need to be asking, is this man going to increase me in life, or is he going to decrease me in life? Is he going to increase me in life, or is he going to decrease me in life? Because as you guys can tell, all men are not created equal, and we'll use the term men loosely, because some of them are still little boys who never actually evolved into a man, okay? And that's why when you deal with him, all he can do is decrease you, because he's not a real man. Little boys need their mommies. Little boys need adults to take care of them and look after them. They can't make the appropriate decisions. They have to be taught, they have to learn, they have to grow and mature. So they're takers, but we're invested in our little boys and our young men to grow up and evolve, But for the ones that are already physically there, but mentally and emotionally and psychologically still back there, all they can do is decrease you, ladies. And that's what happened when we dealt with the narcissist. They're emotionally and psychologically stunted. So all they could do is take. They have nothing positive or fruitful to give or to offer any woman. So anytime you deal with a man and you feel like all you're doing is taking losses, and you're decreasing in life, you're definitely not doing it right. And you're going to have to evaluate, okay, what is it about my picker? What am I doing that's making me end in this position? Because when you really start to truly love yourself, your selection of men is going to be different. The things that were acceptable to you before, they're not going to be acceptable now. Now, a lot of times right after narcissistic abuse, we're feeling broken. We're feeling humbled. Our self-esteem has taken a little bit of a dive, and sometimes a whole lot of dive, because we were abused on so many levels. And emotional abuse, people minimize that. People minimize that way too much. Talking about, what was that saying? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt me. Who thought of that ridiculous stuff? Words can be very piercing. And those type of scars stick around way longer, most of the time, after those bumps and bruises have healed. Okay? Psychological and emotional abuse, verbal abuse, that's real and that's serious. Because when you get somebody's mind, the body will follow. That's how serious that is. That's why people say that when you get into somebody's mind, the body will follow. And that's what the narcissist did. They got into our minds at a certain point, and our bodies followed. And that's the manipulation that comes with that type of abuse. But moving forward, ladies, no man should be decreasing you in life. Okay? And when I say decreasing you, I'm not just talking about money. Because you can be, a whole bunch of things about you can decrease. Your self-worth and your self-confidence can be decreased if you're with a man that is not lifting you up and respecting you. Yes, your finances can decrease as well if he's not up to par and come into the picture with his hands out like a child. You know, that's ridiculous to come into the picture that way. To come into the picture that way. Not, you came in strong and, pulling your weight and providing and doing for her, and then you fell on hard times down the line. No, you coming into the picture that way, something's wrong with that picture. When they're coming into the picture that way, priorities are out of order at that point. What are you doing coming into any woman's life when you can't provide for her? And you want to be having sex and risking procreating and children and mouths that you can't feed and take care of? You can't even take care of her, let alone the seed that you're planting in her stomach. So we have to be careful, ladies. Because papa's maybe, that saying they say, oh, it's definitely mama's baby, papa's maybe. Because men, they could be the Rolling Stones. They tend to be able to get up and walk away real freely. And guess who's picking up the pieces? Unless you get an abortion, you're carrying that baby for almost a year. Then you have to go and touch death to give birth. Then you have to figure out how you're going to provide for that child while you're trying to heal your womb and your privates from giving birth. While he's going to the next woman, putting his hands out, ladies. That's why we can't deal with a man that is going to decrease you in life. You don't deserve that. And I'm sick of seeing it. I'm so sick of seeing it. But our young ladies, our daughters, we got to get to them young and plant that in their head, engrave it. Okay? So they won't make some of the mistakes that we've made out of our naiveness and our gullibility and our lack of guidance. And I'm really passionate about that because I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like. And I've seen it. I've been in those shoes and I've seen it over and over and over again. And maybe we can't change the world as one person. But if everyone listening to this video make the change within themselves first and foremost, and start schooling and teaching your daughters, your nieces, your granddaughters, your friend of the family, your neighborhood, the children in the neighborhood. Influence, be that positive influence to tell that young lady how beautiful and how precious she is and how much she deserves. The proper way of doing things. Because can you rebound out of that situation? Yes, but we all know the struggle that can come with that, being a single mother. Not having adequate support. That's not the way that God designed it. It's not the way that God designed it. We are queens. We deserve so much more. So much more. I use myself as an example. Guys, I gave birth alone when I had my twins. All by myself. And the people at the hospital, they were scratching their heads. They couldn't figure it out. How is such seemingly a beautiful, intelligent, nice woman being here giving birth to twins alone? Something that people consider special. Like, where's her support? Where is the father? Why is she in here alone? I seen the empathy and even the sorrow, the sympathy, and even the pity. I've seen all of those type of looks. Like, I feel bad for her. What is going on? What is going on? They were like, well, can we at least take pictures? I had to get a C-section because my oldest twin, the one that's 4 minutes older, she was breech. So I wasn't able to do it another way. I had to get an automatic C-section. Okay. But they were like, can we at least take pictures, ma'am? Can we take pictures for you? Can we take pictures for you? And I said yes, and I'm so glad that they did, that they were able to capture that. But why was I alone? Because I dealt with a narcissist, number one. And he was a little boy. He was a piece of shit. I tried to get out of that relationship. I had a discernment after a certain while, and him showing me his disloyalty, I was like, okay, God, I see it this time. Because I was on a swing of healing myself from some toxic behaviors when I embarked on this relationship. And that's why it didn't last long with him and I. But I had a conversation with God, and I said, you know what, God, I see this person for who they are. And I even was figuring out while I was in it with this last narcissist that it was a narcissist. I was like, okay, yeah, I get it, God. I'm going to go ahead and end this relationship. But I didn't just go no contact, and that's where I went wrong with it. I actually went to the person and I had a conversation with them, and I just took one foot out of it. I said, look, let's focus on other areas of the relationship. I don't want to have sex with you anymore. This is what I told them. We had like a 2-hour conversation. Actually, God was discerning me on premarital sex altogether. And then on top of that, with him being so disloyal and at this point not up to par because he had lost his job and stuff, it just felt wrong. It just felt wrong on so many levels. It felt wrong. So on the brink of tears, I talked to this narcissist for 2 hours about how I just wanted to wait. I said, let's just have sex again when we get married. We're fine in that department. Let's focus on the other parts. It was my roundabout way of saying, I don't trust you anymore. I don't want to trust you with my body anymore. And I'm on the verge of just completely no contact with you. But before I do that, I was giving him a chance to redeem, but I didn't want to sleep with him anymore. That was like taking 100 steps away from him, taking that intimacy out the picture. And you know what he did? He looked me in the eyes and he was like, you're the only girl that I want to touch. You're the only girl that I'm sleeping with. When I have an urge, I'm going to act on it. And I didn't give it the weight that I should have given it at the time, guys. I didn't give it the proper weight. I didn't view the angles, all the angles. I just kind of viewed it as, I guess he was so attracted to me that he couldn't keep his hands off of me. I don't know. But in my mind, I was like, well, if we stay out in public for a little while I get him used to the idea, maybe I won't go into his room for a little while I get him used to the ideal, But inevitably, we were back in his room again a few weeks later. And he asked me for a kiss. I said, I don't know if that's a good idea. We had that conversation in the car, and even though I'm okay with a kiss, I don't want to do more than that. And I'm afraid that you'll want to do more than that. So maybe we shouldn't do anything. And of course, he lied and said, no, a kiss is fine. I can handle that. And I gave him the kiss, and he turned into an octopus. Then we started wrestling with one another because he wanted to do more. He wanted to do more. And the whole time, more times than I could even count, I told him, look, remember our conversation? I don't want to have sex with you. Like, I don't want to go all the way. I don't want to do this. Let's just stop. And I kept saying that over and over and over. It felt like I was wrestling with him for a couple of hours. I really felt like I was wrestling with him for a couple of hours, to the point where my inner thighs the next day, it was sore. Like I had done that thigh machine at the gym or something. Like I had ran 20 miles. It was literally sore from clenching my legs shut and trying to keep him from trying to, have his way with me. Now he's 6'5" and, bigger and stronger than me. I got exhausted wrestling with him, and I froze. After wrestling with him and telling him no so many times, I froze. Because psychologically, I didn't know how to deal with that shit. I didn't know how to deal with it, guys. I didn't know how to treat him like a person in an alleyway. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I froze. Because I'd never been in a situation where things had gone that far, where someone was trying and I had told them no. I never dated somebody and told them no and they didn't respect it. I froze. I mentally closed down, and at that point I became a zombie. His bed was against a white wall, so I looked at it and I didn't move a limb. I was like a corpse. And this was the first time that anything sexual ever happened to me, and I can't even tell you what it fucking felt like. I didn't move a limb. My muscles, I couldn't move at that point. I literally froze like a deer caught in headlights. I didn't look at him again. I didn't touch him again. I didn't move. I was really a corpse. And I looked at the white wall until I felt him get off of me. And the second he got off of me, I started crying like crazy. I felt so violated. And all I could think in my mind was, why wasn't I good enough to wait for? Why wasn't I worth the wait? Why wasn't I good enough for you to wait? Why did you have to act like you never had sex a day in your life? Why was it that important for you to push yourself on me? And then after the fact, to find out you was fucking all these other people, you wasn't even pressed for sex. But he had an agenda, guys. He wanted to trap me in his fucking life like I was going to be a meal ticket. And you did all of that just to not even be a stand-up guy and take care of the fucking babies you created. That's crazy to me. That's asinine. Because it wasn't never about the babies. It was never about love and having a special moment and doing things the right way. It was just about manipulation and using. So the only thing he ever gave me was those beautiful girls. And they gave me twice the love that I needed after going through that. And I'm still leaving out some parts of the situation. And I paid a price. I paid a price for that whole situation. I actually felt like I carried all the consequences, actually. And it was rough. It was rough to have that C-section and to have not one but two babies to take care of and to be the only adult and take care of the 4 kids that I already had by my ex-husband. So it was rough. And, I asked God many a times, I'm like, God, why did this happen? Like, why did it have to happen like this? Like, I was trying to actually leave this situation. I was trying to honor your wishes. But, now I see that I should have just went no contact. Should have just went no contact and taken no more chances. And maybe, he wanted to use that situation to give him the glory by having me be able to start this YouTube channel, write my books, and pull other women through and empower them. But it was rough. It was very rough. Thank God for a couple of friends that were able to, sprinkle some help on me here and there. My one very dear girlfriend, she gave us a ride home from the hospital. My sister, who lived quite a distance away, she took care of my 4 kids while I was in the hospital for, I think 4 days, was it? They gave me an extra day because the C-section, it was just so rough on my body. I'm telling you, the first time I stood up after that C-section, I felt like my whole guts was going to fall out of me. It was horrible. And they want you to stand up within like 12 hours later. I'm like, are you kidding me? It was rough. It was very rough. Then here I am, home, not even a week, and I gotta drive to the supermarket to get baby supplies and stuff. I had nobody to do that for me. I wasn't supposed to be driving. I could barely step into my car. It was so painful. I was afraid I was going to bust my stitches and get an infection, but God kept me covered during that time. And I remember seeing one of the people in the supermarket that see me through my pregnancy, and she was like, "What are you doing in the supermarket?" Because I could barely walk. I was walking so slow, like I was 100 years old, because I was still very sore and tender. And she was like, "Where I come from, you ain't even supposed to be out the house right now, ma'am." And this is why I said in other videos, when I say it's always been me and God, I mean that. I'm not just saying that all lightly. It has been me and God. So when I make a video about a guy decreasing you in a certain sense, as far as you not getting the adequate support and help that you deserve, I know what I'm talking about, and I've been there and I've done that. I've made every sacrifice. Every sacrifice. Thank God I have 2 college degrees and a way to have a livelihood and all this creativity in me, and that I am a person that will, I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor in every word. Okay? I'm a survivor in every word. My mother got pregnant with me when she was 13 because my father raped her. And he was 19. I never knew him. I can't even tell you his last name. And my aunts told me the story about when she came to check in on my mom, and I was just crying up a storm. And she asked my mom, she's like, "What's wrong with that baby?" And my mom's like, "She won't stop crying." She's like, "Well, did you feed her?" And she's like, "Well, she had, her breakfast, lunch, and dinner." And she had to tell my mom, babies got to eat every 2 hours, because a baby had a baby, because somebody took her innocence. But it's stopping. It is stopping. My daughters won't ever be in those type of situations. I mean, it can happen to anybody, but I just want that cycle to stop. And I pray that over my children every day, that it stops. So I've been a survivor. I've been a survivor from day one, from day one. And if I just told you guys about my life, these are sprinkles. These are sprinkles of incidents that have made me who I am today. That's why, I am empathic in a certain way. I can feel other people's pain. I can see where they're coming from, because I know what pain feels like. But I don't want to digress. But this is why I don't want you guys to go through certain things. And if you have, I don't want you going through it again. And it's up to us to inform other women and empower them. No man should be coming into a woman's life and decreasing her, and dishonoring her, and disrespecting her, and taking her body, and taking her, material things from her as well. Are you kidding me? What type of person does this? Only a cruel, evil person. that you don't need no parts of. So I hope this video resonates with someone. And if it does, you can feel free to hit the like button. If you haven't done so, subscribe to my channel. You know, this is a real channel. I'm not going to fluff anything with you guys ever. I don't fluff things with my children because I need them to know how the real world is and what can happen out here. Not for them to be hypervigilant, not for them to be panicky, because they see a lot of beauty as well, because I raised them up different than I did, than I was brought up. They get to see and do and taste and enjoy and see the beautiful parts of life, but I damn sure make sure that they understand both sides. They're not going to just be privileged kids that never knew and understood this and that. They're going to understand the whole picture, and then they're going to appreciate it that much more, what I can do and provide for them. All right, guys. So until next time, take care.